together and try to run another mile. As a woman, I know my worth. Yeah, I'm gonna make it. Gotta follow my dreams, put myself first. Oh yeah.
Hello, everybody. Listen, I want you to share. We are getting ready to start our journey of womanhood, and we're dedicating this particular series on mental health awareness. So, listen, ladies, share. I have a wonderful woman, Dr. Sabri Wiggins Rose. She's coming on in just a few minutes, but I want you all to share. Listen, share to your friends, family, tag somebody that you know will be interested. We all are interested in mental health. This affects all of us, ladies. So listen, share, and join in the conversation. Join in the conversation. I'm getting ready to bring on this wonderful vessel, and I'm super excited about her and everything she's done in the community. And here she is.
Hello.
Hi, Dr. Wiggins. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. I don't call. I find it not robbery that you took time information. As we all know that mental health is an issue. It's always been, but our culture has become like a stigma, and we're going to talk about that on tonight. First, can you just introduce yourself and let us know what you do and exactly how you even started to go into the mental health?
Yeah. So, so my name again is Dr. Sabri Wiggins Rose, and I've been in the mental health counseling field since about 2008. Um, I'm a licensed mental health clinician in the state of Maryland. I have my private practice, which is Birdie's Nest Therapeutic and Consulting Services. Right now, it's just me, but it's growing. I do look very soon to add on a few more clinicians. Part time, I also teach at Bowie State University in the psychology department.
Oh,
I've had a passion for mental health for a very long time. Since I was really young, when I saw what trauma, specifically child sexual abuse, could do to a person, and how it manifested all the way into adulthood. And so I always just wanted to be able to be, at that time, I thought I could save the world, but I do realize differently now. I can help out a great deal, maybe not save everybody, but help out a great deal to help people to be able to function better mentally and emotionally.
so I recognizing that one of the greatest challenges facing the healthcare industry is the fight against mental illness. And how do you how what do you think? And I do believe sometimes like I've been doing some research and they say that women have a tendency to suffer more because of the trauma that we might have went through, and we find ourselves eternalizing trauma, and it spills out in other ways, just as you said earlier.
Yeah.
In your profession, how do you see that happening more for the women than the men, or how does that usually work for you?
In my field, especially in the Black, African American community, you do see more women coming to counseling, but
Mhm.
I do not believe it's because women suffer more.
Mm.
I believe that because men are supposed to be really strong, protectors, and when we look at mental health and people not having a healthy mental health status, we look at that as weak.
Yeah.
So a lot of men are not necessarily forthcoming about what's going on mentally, and they kind of suffer in silence. There was a video, like a little short video, and it had Shaq on there. And I don't know if too many people saw it, but they asked him how he was doing, like mentally, and he said that he has children, he has brothers, he has sisters, he has his children's mother that he has to take care of,
Mhm.
and he went on to say, I don't have time to take care of me, and he thought that was okay.
Wow.
And I saw that as really sad, for anybody, no matter what your gender is, to feel that you have to suffer alone or in silence.
Yeah. And I know that that's really an issue. Just just me as a pastor and counseling different people. A lot of times people do suffer in silence
Yeah.
because they might be ashamed of why they're suffering in silence, or it could be the spirit of pride of just not wanting to, or not knowing how to reach out for the help.
Mm-hmm.
um, and when I think of a lot of serious conditions such as like schizophrenia, bipolar, depression, and anxiety, they're
Mm-hmm.
often difficult to diagnose.
Yep.
Can you tell me why, or why do you think those are so difficult to diagnose, those particular conditions?
It's especially speaking specifically for the African American community. The reason why it's so difficult is because um, if you even put mental health to the side for a second, in life in general, it's a
Mhm,
struggle for us.
mhm.
And it's always been that way.
Yeah,
So the feelings of anxiety and depression, it kind of blends in with the normal struggle of day to day.
yeah,
So it's kind of difficult for us to say, oh wait, this is from anxiety, this is from depression, or this is from just living life normally, you know?
yeah.
And a lot of times we don't talk about mental health and how it impacts us because we're not knowledgeable.
Yeah. And I agree with that because a lot, I think, especially with our culture, and I don't feel like I'm sorry I keep throwing that culture part around,
Yeah,
but
it's important. It's important.
yeah,
It really is.
but for our culture, we have a tendency of judging people that have mental health, that
Mhm.
deal with that, not recognizing that, but they have more compassion with a person that has cancer, or have more compassion with a person that have diabetes or anything else. But
Yep.
when it comes to mental health, our culture tends to look at people sideways,
Yep.
or have little names for them.
Yep.
And that's the part I'm really passionate about. That's the part that really hurts me a lot,
Yeah.
because the same way you can have cancer in the kidney, and
Mhm.
in the stomach, and in other places, you can have cancer in the brain too. So that lets
Yep.
us know that any part of our body can be ill, that we can have
Exactly.
any certain situations in our body. um okay, just to move on, why is it, my question too is, why are the resources, I've noticed that the resources for mental health is so limited. Like, it's just hard to find psychiatrists, it's hard to find therapists, and it's hard to really get the consistency going. And now with COVID, that
Mhm.
didn't change the whole game, because
Yep.
now everything is virtual, but you have people that are really going through, and
Mhm.
virtual is just not working.
Yep. I think that there's a lot of different reasons that contribute to the limited resources. Um, One thing, this field is not necessarily a money making field, right? So you don't. My all my professors told me, if you want to get rich, don't become a therapist, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So so that's one reason. Uh, a lot of times people, well, of course, with COVID, more people were interested in therapy,
Mhm.
so they ran to it. Um, at one time, it was there were a whole bunch of resources, and we were wondering why people weren't coming. And
Mhm.
so, because of the recent crisis, it's even more so in terms of people wanting it now. Um, I think that once people understand that mental health is just as important as the physical health, then it will open up doors for more resources and people saying, okay, wait, this is a field that we need to pour more into so that it can be accessible to everyone. I'm not sure. There's a lot of literature, research that talks about mental health and its association with your physical health.
Mhm.
Research shows that mental health, when negatively impacted, can contribute to um, physical ailments in your body. The thing is, it's just not talked about enough. So conversations like the one we're having today needs to happen more and more, so people can become more aware. And once we are more aware, then that's when people start to talk and they start wanting to do something.
And I have a question. What would you say to that woman that have that's really dealing with a whole lot of things, do not know how to communicate what she's dealing with? Because I know even for me, I find myself, even as a pastor, I have to sit down and just kind of put like everything got to be shut out, and I got to pull myself together. And I've learned the hard way that balance is a big contributor. Being honest with yourself is a big contributor. Being able to have an outlet to talk about the things that are on the inside, and a lot of us as women, we don't have that safe place, to be able to discuss and talk about the things that we're struggling with and the things that are hurting us. What would you say to that woman that's really just trying to navigate through all of the things that she's going through eternally, trying to, and I know this is like a loaded questions, right? Trying to get the monkey off her back as far as her past, and she's carrying all the weight of her kids, she's carrying the weight of her job, she's carrying the weight of her past, and she's trying to navigate through that, in her career, to be a better parent, to be a better mother, to be a better wife, et cetera, et cetera. What would you say to that woman just as a starting point so she can start to unravel, or what I use as a analogy all the time, to allow God to peel you like an onion so we can get rid of those layers that we have weighing us down?
Yeah. So basically it's three things to that. One, there's actually a name for that. It's called the Superwoman Complex. Right? So that's big because now she knows that she's not alone. Like this is a problem that is common among so many different women. And like you said earlier about, people tending to talk badly about individuals with suffering from mental health issues. So women don't want to talk about it, but you're not alone. There's so many women that suffer from that, feeling like they have to be perfect, feeling like they have to put themselves to the side and be there for everybody else, end up losing themselves, right? So first knowing that you're not alone, then knowing that you have people like myself and other professionals that are here that you can actually talk to. You have professionals that actually look like you, have experienced maybe similar things that you have, and can really support you if you give them a chance. A lot of, when we talk about mental health, it's important to also acknowledge trauma, and so with trauma, it does a whole bunch of negative things to people, especially when it comes to building relationships and new relationships. And one of the most important things between a therapist or a counselor and the client is trust. And if you can't trust your therapist, you're not really gonna go that far, right? So you seek the resource. You find somebody to talk to, a professional, of course, and you take your time with it. You don't have to come in and just spill all the beans right off the first session. This is your session. This is your experiences. This is your healing process. So when you go and you're looking out for a therapist, when you find that first one, if you guys don't click, out.
That's right.
And know that you have that power, and know that just because that first one didn't work doesn't mean you're not going to be able to find somebody that you're able to connect with.
And I'm glad you said that, because especially in the Christian community, I remember for years therapy was like a therapy. You need couch therapy. Just pray about it. And we're learning now, and I believe COVID was the reality of that. But we're learning now, and that I never thought that anything was wrong with therapy. Let me put that on the table. So, but a lot of times, especially in the Christian community, they just throw to just pray about it. And I'm not saying there's that power in prayer, because it is, but I believe that the Lord has placed a lot of people in our space for us to get the help that we need.
Yes.
Do you find yourself dealing with those type of situations as well?
Yes. It's really interesting because I do deal with a lot of African American individuals who are coming for therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them, when they come to me, this is their first experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're hesitant,
Mm-hmm.
and I let them know right off the front, like, that's okay. And it's actually pretty healthy.
It is.
You don't just come to anybody, even if I'm, a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know me still.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to be a little bit guarded when you come in, Some of them come in, and many of them come in a little bit guarded in the beginning, but then they start to loosen up,
Mm-hmm.
loosen up, loosen up.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, I love you. I ain't gonna let you go.
Right.
Because it's really nice to be able to have somebody who truly cares about you.
That's right.
Is not judging you for being human.
That's right.
We all have some type of mental health thing that is going on. Some of us manage it better, Some of us can manage it without the need of a therapist, maybe. And then some of us need some support, and they feel like they need that one person that can listen to them without judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like you said, to get that safe place, and that safe place does exist. I like to think that I'm a great therapist, but I know a whole bunch of other great therapists. I really do. And unfortunately, I know some ones that, don't necessarily aren't that great in my opinion.
Right.
But, everyone has their own match.
Mm-hmm.
So I just encourage individuals just to, if you're feeling alone, know that you don't really have to. It is scary. It is tough, because therapy is not easy work.
Mm-mm.
But once you get through that door and you come back and you do the work, because that's one of the most important parts of it. The therapist is a great tool of information and some insight. But when it comes to healing and figuring things out, the client is the person who really does the work.
Yeah. And that's the key, doing the work. I mean, again, I told you, offline, I am very, very super duper passionate about mental health. And again, these conversations do need to happen more, because a lot of people just they're hesitant, very guarded. And I used to be one of those people. I put it out there. It's not secret. So I'm very guarded. So and a lot of reasons why we're guarded is because of situations that happen, experiences, and because of those experiences, we are carrying those experiences to our now, and not allowing, God to open up those things so we can go to our next, So how do you deal with, or not deal with, that's, I don't like that word, but how do you handle women or men that come in and they really, well, first of all, how do you feel about medication? Let's go from there.
Okay, so I am not one to think, okay, first medication.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do recognize, I want to explain this too. Medications are for physiological things happening in the brain, right? Some people have misfires, chemical imbalances, and things of that nature. And the medication can work for that. But that's where it stops, right? So sometimes people feel like, oh, let me go get a psychiatrist and get some medication. Some of your symptoms might subside if it's due to a chemical imbalance alone,
right,
or some kind of thing in the brain alone. But the minute that you have stuff that's environmental, meaning, experiences with your past, experiences with maybe a significant other, you maybe got abused or attacked or something like that. And so we're talking about trauma now, right? Those things medicine can't fix.
That's right.
And so some people, they might need some medication and some therapy. Some people, they might just need some therapy and don't even need the medication, because there's also things, coping mechanisms that we use that aren't medication. It's just actually different habits that we start to make for ourselves to make us feel okay in that moment. I do want to be clear that coping skills don't fix it either. So you still have to do the work.
Yeah.
You know, and when I reference the work, I want to say that that's like looking at yourself, like, you know, visualize yourself in the mirror, undress, right? Seeing yourself, because, you know, we're always our worst critic.
Mm-hmm.
So you see every crevice that you don't want nobody else to know about. And you are actually just embracing that, looking in that and saying like, okay, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do about this? You know, and where am I going to go after this? I often ask my clients, you know, is your behavior in alignment with where you want to go and your goals? You know, because sometimes we get so used to doing the same thing over and over and over again. And so with these clients, I say, you know, hey, you know, are you tired of being on that hamster wheel?
Mm-hmm.
You know, doing that cycle over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes they say like, because we get so comfortable and used to it, we're just like, you know what? I'm ready to get off.
Right. That's right.
You know, and sometimes all they need is just somebody just to point it out, walk with them through the process.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and know that they're not alone in this.
Now, I'm glad you talked about coping mechanisms. What do you feel is the connection, or, well, I guess it is. I don't know if it's a connection, but I've noticed that a lot of times addiction and mental health always collide.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah. All right. So back to trauma, right? So with addiction, typically when we're looking at it in the mental health realm, we're looking at it as a maladaptive coping, meaning coping that does not serve you well,
Mm-hmm.
right? But what it does is allow you an escape from the pain or from the reality that you're living.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and no, it doesn't fix it for a person. And
Mm-hmm.
people wonder, well, why do you keep on doing this? Why do you keep doing this? Well, if they're not knowledgeable or they don't believe that help is out there, what else are they to do?
Yeah.
Are they just supposed to sit in that pain 24 hours a day? No. You know, and it's so amazing because when I was in graduate school, my internship was in a dual diagnosis facility.
Mm-hmm.
That means they had a mental health diagnosis and they also had a substance abuse diagnosis.
Right.
And when you heard all of the stories that it was all women. If you could, all the things that these women had been through and were struggling with, you would think I might, you know.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my life was a little bit different.
Right.
But if I had gone through what they went through, I probably would be in the same position that they were in. You know, it is tough. And then coming back to, you know, us, the whole thing of like, what happens in this house stays in this house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a client before, he was a male and he was schizophrenic. Mm-hmm. He heard voices when he was really little.
Oh, wow.
He told his father. His father said, boy, go to bed. He never told anybody else again.
Oh, wow.
The next person he told was me. And when I met him, this man had to be in his 50s. You know? And so, and again, it was still bothering because when I met him, he was in jail.
Yeah.
You know? The talk of keeping things secret, you know, not saying anything, don't talk about your pain, just keep pushing, keep going. Those things are hurtful. They don't help.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't say enough how important these specific conversations are. You know, and I hope that so many people share this live. People have more conversations, you know, about this same topic. Because you can never get enough of it because so many people still do not know, not in tune with what's out there that can help them. You know, and like you said, it could be a bit of pride, and that's all nestled in, you know, cultural things like you're weak if you have a mental health diagnosis.
Yep.
You don't have time to be weak. Nobody don't want to be seen as weak. How can you be a protector and also be weak?
That's fine.
They don't go together. So we have to change the narrative of what mental health is. Everybody has some type of mental health. It's either healthy or unhealthy,
That's right.
you know? And so we definitely have to just, yes, I'm looking at this comment about
Yeah.
suffering in silence is not strength. It
Mhm.
definitely is not. But we're told that it is. We're
That's
told
right.
that be strong. You see how strong that mother is? She went through all of that and she's still pushing. She's still pushing. Can she get a hand, please?
Come on now.
Can we ask her if she's okay? You know, but that isn't the norm. You know, so a lot of it is changing the narrative and letting know like you're strong. Because honestly, the guts that it takes to say, hey, I need some help
Mhm.
around a world that tells you that you're not supposed to ask for help,
Come
a world that
on.
tells you you're not even human,
Yes.
you know, and then you get in that seat and you start the healing process. And that part still is not easy
No.
because you're coming to somebody and you're just showing them everything like a little flashlight, you know?
Mhm.
Who wants everybody to see that? No, nobody, not even me,
That's right.
you know?
Yeah.
But you have to do what you have to do to get better because you can see, I tell people all the time, like, you're going to pour into your cousin, you're going to pour into your kids, your mom, your dad. But what happens when your well runs dry and you can't pour anymore? Who's going to pour into you?
That's right.
Um, it's, oh my goodness, it's so much, you know. And if people knew that it's more people who have issues with their mental health than not, maybe people will be more likely to move forward and say, "Hey, yeah,
That's
I
right.
need some help."
And let's say closed mouths don't get fed, but it's hard to
It
talk
is. It's
about
hard.
that. Yeah.
It is hard.
And it's mainly because of the stigma and the
Mhm.
way people judge
Mhm.
just the whole thing.
Yeah, you know, one thing that I try to say because I'm a parent as well.
Mhm.
And I try to say sometimes if you can't do it for you, do it for your children.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
good.
show them that, hey, this is what mommy did, or this is what daddy did, or cousin, whoever the caregiver is, you know,
Mhm.
this is what I did to get better so that you can know when
That's
you're
right.
hurting, you know, because
Yes.
the thing is, our children, they look up to us, they
Mhm.
watch us, you
Mhm.
know, and when we start having these conversations in the house about mental health, and I saw a comment, you know, with the person saying, you know, it's hard asking for help. I know it's hard.
Mhm.
Sometimes you ain't gotta tell everybody you need help. You know, if you have insurance, go to the back of your insurance card. Call that number. They don't know you on the other line. You say, hey, I'm looking for a therapist.
Mhm.
You know, somebody mentioned a mentor. If that's how you want to get there, that's also great too.
Mhm.
Mentors I looked at, you know, not so grungy, you know what I'm saying? So that might be might be a comfortable first step,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know. But then if you don't have insurance, go to Google, type up, type up, you know, how to get insurance because it's hard to get therapy without insurance. That is true.
Yeah. Mm.
But there are different agencies out here that will help you to get benefits that you may need or tell you what you need to do to be able to get closer to be able to get the resources. You know, there isn't well, I was going to say there isn't a ton of money out here, but there probably is a ton of money out here, but not
Mhm.
necessarily for mental health.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there are a lot of different agencies that are there that, and you know, I guess people I know about them because I work in the field.
Yeah.
But now that I'm thinking about it, it's not a lot of advertisements about mental health.
It's not. It's not.
So, but you do a quick Google search and you type in, you know, mental health services, mental health resources, those keywords, you'll get a lot that comes up.
And how my other question for you today is how does a family member respond to another family member that's suffering and has a mental health challenge?
Yeah. Okay. So, um, one is not there's not any one given way to do that.
Mhm.
Um, so and it depends on like what's going on with the individual, right? Sometimes you have an individual who is open to help. And then you have family members that are actively, that something is going on. However, you approach them and they're not receptive to anything, And for those individuals who aren't receptive, pretty much all you can do with that person is let them know you love them, let them know you care about them, let them know that if they need assistance, you're there to support them any way that you can, you know. Um, you can do your research, because you can do your research about like maybe what kind of thing mental health issue they might be dealing with, and what I say some safe practices. But the thing about mental health is that if the person in that moment is not presenting as a danger to himself or others, then there's nothing that can happen. Let me tell you this. A person could be in a moment saying, I'm gonna kill everybody in here. As soon as the authority figure comes, whether it's a mental health practitioner, the police officers, or a doctor per se, as soon as they come in and that person denies everything, there's nothing. And usually if they do get them, if they are actively psychotic at that time, and they do get them into the hospital without their permission, what happens is they're under like a 24-hour hold. And simply after that, they release them, unless they see that it's like actively psychotic and they just can't stop. So I'm saying all to say is that sometimes we are a bit powerless when it comes to helping our family members who are not necessarily wanting to get the help.
Yeah.
But don't feel bad about that. And so, and work within your power to let them know that you love them, you care about them. And you could offer, say, hey, you want to go here? You want to get checked out? You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's still going to be their choice. Whether they go or they don't go. But then when you have family members who do have it or who are struggling with their mental health, and they're open to hearing suggestions and stuff like that, don't become a doctor that you're not qualified for. That doesn't mean that I don't acknowledge that different people can recognize that someone's having an issue, because you definitely can see that something is wrong with different people. But you can notice it, talk to them about it, let them know, hey, I'll support you. Hey, do you want to go this place, that place? Don't joke about it. I know that there was a family member. Who had some active psychosis. This person was seeing things, hearing things that weren't there. But it didn't last forever. So there was times when she wasn't actively psychotic.
Okay.
And the times that she wasn't, and she was meeting with family members would make jokes about it. Let's not do that.
That's not cool.
No. She would kind of laugh with it, but it's not really funny.
That's hurtful.
So you ask, what can they do? So I'm also saying the things that they maybe shouldn't do. Don't make someone feel uncomfortable. Don't make them feel like, they're the butt of a joke.
Yes.
And let them know that, hey, we're a family. I want to support you. And it's okay if you don't know exactly what to do. Just letting them know that you're there offers a lot of comfort, because a lot of individuals that come into my office or into my virtual office now, one of the biggest things is that they don't have nobody. They're by themselves, and a word of isolation is a whole nother, another added thing to the mental health realm.
It is. Now, I heard you mention a few words that I would like for you to kind of define.
Okay.
The difference between psychosis and mania. You didn't mention mania, but I thought about it.
Yeah. So psychosis is so you heard the word psychotic, so it's a similar thing. typically we say crazy, right? So it's like when you hear something that's not there, when you see something that's not there, and then another thing is like delusions, or you like have a belief that's not true. So an example of that is like I had a client who used to write a whole bunch of letters to the president about he referred to himself as an entity.
Yeah.
And the president, he had issues with the president. The president wasn't listening. So he had letters to the mayor, all the officials that were local around him, believing that he had some kind of partnership or business relationship with the president. And so that was delusion. While it is possible that could, that someone could have business with a relationship with
Right.
this relationship with the president, this person did not.
Right.
So that's what I refer to as delusion. And we talk about mania. That's also something that I get mixed up with. So let me look it up really quick and explain it to you guys really quickly. Okay. Mania is, when we talk about like bipolar disorder, and then the mania part is like it's almost like hyperactivity.
Like euphoria almost?
Yeah.
Okay.
The feeling of euphoria times 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they're like on this up, and it's like kind of unexplained.
Yeah. So when their highs are really highs, but their lows are really low.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How do you, if you are a person feeling these things, if you're hallucinating, and I know from experience on just some counseling I've done, not to the level that you're doing it, of course, but I've noticed that sometimes drugs will kind of open Pandora's box with that.
Yep. And then we talk back with the brain, So I don't know if it's like a bad chemical reaction, and then it's also such that says that sometimes you have something that's latent, meaning that mental health, like that schizophrenia or the other serious diagnosis is already in you, but it hasn't been activated. And so that also brings another thing about hereditary.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that.
So a lot of mental health, which we don't talk about, a lot of people keep it silent, but grandpa, grandma, greats suffered from it, but didn't have the outlet or didn't even know what to say. Because a lot of times, if you're hearing things, you don't really know if it's not true or not.
Right.
Someone has to tell you that sound didn't come out, or that dog is not talking to you.
Right. Right.
And sometimes individuals get so sometimes the symptoms are so powerful that the individuals that are experiencing those kind of symptoms, like the voices, it feels so real that even a professional who's been trained, they come and tell me that's not real. This professional is against me. That professional is scheming,
Yeah.
So dealing with that level of mental health is really challenging, whether you're the professional or the person who's experiencing it.
Yeah. It's just I think you and I are gonna have to do a sidebar and do some. We're gonna get together, do some other.
It's I know I want to say this. There's so many different layers to mental health.
Yeah.
And there's so many things that impact it. And you can really have a whole series.
Yeah, I was thinking that while you were talking.
Yeah.
But when we get offline, we will because it's all about community and helping the community to get better. And my passion with this here is to kind of change the perspective of people on how they see people that are struggling with that. When I was coming up, I was in school, back in the 70s. I'm not,
Mhm.
but I'm 53. So, back then when you had person that had mental issues, we used to call them slow.
Mhm.
And we used to have our, just kids being kids.
Yep.
But as an adult, and then you growing up and you have your own trauma of your own,
Yep.
and you're trying to navigate through your own trauma, and doing that thing starts to be real with you. When we was little, we had a visual of what we thought mental health looked like. you
Mhm.
know
Mhm.
they were on the bus, or people doing facial, but that's not how it is.
Mhm.
People are dealing with mental health issues, that's going to work every day, that's
Yep.
raising children,
Yep.
that they get their face beat and got cute
Yep.
little eyelashes and
Yep.
a unit on the head.
Yep.
It but was on the inside. We put
Yep.
we make, especially us as women, we make ourselves up real good, and
Yep.
and we know how to play the part. We know how
Yep.
to laugh when it's
Mhm.
time to laugh. We know
Yep.
how to do this and that and the other, and maneuver, and operate in normalcy, but on the inside, you know. So I want you to talk to that woman that
Yep.
they know that everything's really crazy, but
Mhm.
they're pushing through, but knowing
Yeah.
I look the part, but on the inside I got some stuff going on.
Yeah. So I call that autopilot,
I
right?
like that.
So yeah, so you know how you get accustomed to, like, say you're driving and
Mhm.
you're driving the same house and you done been in the same house a million times. So literally you don't even have to wait and think about, I'm turning left, I'm turning right here. You just kind of naturally maneuver because
Mhm.
it's already memorized.
That's right.
And so these same women, and also men too, they can relate too, but these women specifically, they do everything they have to do, right? So we talked about the Superwoman complex, right?
Mhm.
She got to take care of business. So this woman will get up Monday through Friday. She will get dolled up, go to work, do her job, come back home. Now, when it's time to get home, she might, tend to the kids and things like that, but there might be other things lacking, right? So she might, when she's off, sit on the couch all day, can't move. I call it like mental health being paralyzed, like, literally physically cannot move, only enough to make sure that everything that has to get done gets done.
Fine. That's fine.
Other than that, things don't get done. So she might not clean up the house. On weekends, she may not even bathe,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um, and because we don't talk about it often, we sit there and we think, hey, like, it's something's not right, but who do you talk to about it?
That's fine.
You don't want to feel odd.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want somebody to tell you, like, well, it was interesting. And I'm gonna relate it back on Mother's Day. I heard there was I'm not even gonna say who it was, but there was someone with a platform who said that women can't do both. They can't be professionals and mothers and do both of them well at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and this person has a large following,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So imagine all the women who have to be mothers, have to be professionals because they got to work. I mean, they might not have no other supports.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and this woman's telling you basically you got to choose one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't choose because it's either, if you don't work, who going to care for your kids?
That's right.
Okay? You know, if yeah. So you have people like that in leadership who tell you already, like, so why would you go to that person for help?
You won't.
You know, and then why wouldn't you feel a little bit bad, like, maybe I made a wrong decision?
Yeah.
And sometimes we get stuck in those things about, how other people view us, um and they don't even know our story.
That's it.
Well, they don't even want to be honest about their own story.
That's yeah.
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 We have more common than not in common.
That's right.
you know Life is not easy. And I just wish that more people would be more yeah, you don't have to tell your business,
Right.
But don't shun people who struggling similar struggles that you struggle that you just don't want to talk about.
And I'm so glad you said that, because see, I've even noticed with some individuals, like they might have a diagnosis like bipolar, and sometimes they can't get out of bed.
Yep, can't.
And it's hard. They have issues at the job. They, and then I've noticed a connection between hygiene and mental health.
Yep.
Because when that's off, you kind of, for me, I can kind of tell, okay, something's not working right, but something's going on now,
Yeah. Because hygiene is not a necessity. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't, like, you could not bathe for a couple of days and still be able to breathe, eat some food. You know what I'm saying? So and I tell people, let's talk also depression and anxiety, right?
Yes.
And how similar they are. And a lot of times people don't necessarily understand the weight of anxiety and depression.
Yes.
Any little thing, when you're under when you're depressed or you're really anxious, any little thing added to your to-do list is like a ton.
Yes.
The feeling of being overwhelmed, the feeling that you're going to lose it, like those things are real. And people don't necessarily understand the weight and what anxiety is. You said that we were going to have another part and we're going to talk offline. And I want to mention this too, because you said something about dealing with our own traumas and like dealing with day-to-day world issues and stuff like that we go through, and then dealing with people in general.
Yes.
There's also a term called transgenerational trauma. That's where trauma from our parents, just like our color goes down to our kids, our traumas pass down through our children from generation to generation to generation. And so many people aren't aware of it. So it's not just our traumas we carry, but we carry all those traumas from all those ones before us as well.
That's right.
So it's literally when we come into this world, we're already carrying a bag of burdens. And yes, anxiety and depression definitely go hand in hand. It's the same, just like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? They are almost just like silent killers, especially when we're forced to like put on a smile every day and just be okay. Don't complain, You should be grateful that you have life today. Should I be?
Then you get mad about that thing. You don't know what I'm going through. How you gonna tell? Yeah.
And that's why I'm listening to you, Pastor Limes. I'm so happy because I feel like I'm gonna be young forever, right? So, but when I was growing up too, like, I didn't necessarily hear in church about mental health. And I'm so happy that you have opened up this platform to let women of faith know that is an important entity.
It is.
And that while you can address it through your faith, it's also important to go ahead and talk to these mental health professionals as well.
It is. And there's nothing wrong with that. And, I think even the Christian, growing up I grew up Baptist, you better not talk about getting on nobody's couch and telling all your business. And I mean, that was how people saw it at that time, and even growing up, grandma say, no, like you said it earlier, what stays in, go in the house, stay in the house, do as I say, not as I do, and just those things that stick with us. So then as adults, we go through transition and trauma and not really knowing how to communicate how we feel. And what people don't understand is when you internalize, it comes out in different ways. So when you meet people that you might consider nasty or mean, it's not really that they're nasty and mean. They have stuff that they've never exposed or never communicated. So I'm not really cussing you out because you cut me off.
Yeah.
You know, I'm upset because something else, and
Mm-hmm.
what happened just now looked
Yep.
like what happened back then,
Yep. Yep.
and it just kind of was. I call it triggers. You know, it
Yep.
triggered
Yep.
that
You're
way,
right.
you
You're
know,
right. Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times we find ourselves in those places because we did not take the time out, and it's just all out of ignorance. When I say
Mm-hmm.
ignorance, I'm not saying it as a bad,
I
like
understand you.
there's no shade or anything. It's just
Yep.
saying, you know, we're going by what we was always taught,
Yep.
and then we teach our kids the same way.
Yep.
You know what
Yep.
I mean? And then so now is really the time for to be free to live. You know, I used to hashtag this thing that said it's up to me to be free, and it
Mm.
really is up to me to be free.
Yep.
I have to care about my freedom, and I'm not just saying freedom as a child of God and yeah, I'm saved, woo woo woo. That's wonderful, but I'm talking about free in my mind, free in my
Yep.
spirit,
Yep.
free in loving who I am, free in loving who
Mm-hmm.
God created me to be. And a lot of us can't get that because we have all these barriers
Yep.
based on ill-spoken words that was spoken to us years
Mm.
ago that just keep going on in our mind, and I just can't get past that.
Yep.
And that's trauma in itself,
Yep.
especially based on who said it, you know.
Yep.
You
You're
know,
right. You're right.
and I just feel as though, and we are going to do some other things because I feel as though it's so needed.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of women that are in bondage just based off stuff that happened in 1980 or in the early
Mm-hmm.
90s. You know, John
Yep.
John rolled out and I never got over it. You know, that
Yep.
type of stuff. Or I was in a domestic violence relationship,
Yep.
and things like that. I remember as a transparent moment, honestly, when I remember when I first started pastoring with my husband, that was a totally different change for me. I
Mm-hmm.
was used to, being an in-house preacher, under someone else's ministry, and then, now, whatever you want to call it, first lady co-pastor, whatever,
Yeah.
all these names,
Fantastic.
but but it took a toll on me. So then,
Mm-hmm.
we had a lot to do, church. It was always church.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had the family, and then I had my kids, and then I had my marriage, and then I was working, I had my career. And
Mm-hmm.
I was very, very, very overwhelmed. And then it came to a point that I had an accident, and I got burned really bad, and I slipped into a depression.
Mm-hmm.
And I was depressed for 2 years. I mean, preaching depressed, praying depressed,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. Beat
Yeah.
my face on Sunday. That's the only time I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Looking good on Sunday morning, but that was the only time I did.
And I'm autopilot.
Yes, autopilot. And I'm saying I'm being transparent because I'm free
Yeah.
from it. But I want people to see that it doesn't, when it comes to mental health, our mental health, it does not have a gender, it does not have a race, it does not have, it's not a certain type of person.
Yep.
It doesn't
Anybody.
anybody. I don't care about where
Anybody.
you live, how much money you got in the bank, whatever, how many degrees you got behind your name.
Yep.
Doesn't mean anything. It
Yep.
means that we have to get to a place where we can outlet, give, talk about it. And I had to do that. And
Yep.
it really helped me a whole lot,
Yeah.
because I was in a place that I knew, even though I was praying and I was reading
Mm-hmm.
God's word, and I'm not saying that didn't work, but the Lord led me on how to get free. And
Yeah.
that's exactly, and I was very guarded. I don't trust people.
Yeah.
So, so that's the other piece of it. So, you have to get to a place that you find, like you said earlier, you have to find the resources so you can basically set your own destiny. A lot of times God has a destiny for us, and we have purpose in us,
Yeah.
but we have all these stumbling blocks, so we have to just allow God to do what he wants to do in our life. So
Yeah.
I'm so yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
My last question for you. You
Mhm.
said the superwoman syndrome.
Yeah. I left out the other part. Black woman super hero syndrome.
So
I
what's
didn't
the
want to try
difference?
that. Go ahead.
What's the difference? What would you say? Let's talk about the different women. The
Mm-hmm.
difference between the black woman superwoman, the black superwoman,
Mm-hmm.
and the woman that's on autopilot.
I think she's the same woman.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yep.
And I want to talk, ask the ladies that are on here. Are you on autopilot?
Yeah.
Are you operating as the superwoman? I had the superwoman
Yeah.
syndrome.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's because the thing about it, it's not like a favorable choice. It's like the woman is supposed to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to, and this is like history. Back in slavery time, the woman she had her role and she had her position, which was protected.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and it carries through.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, if things don't go right with the family, who's everybody gonna look at?
The woman.
Exactly.
And this is what I learned. And I hope someone catch this. Men, a man, if he tired, he gonna get that remote. He gonna watch that TV, and he don't care what gotta happen. He doing him that day.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to learn to do the same. Honestly,
Yes.
we have to learn to do the same, even with the kids, even with
Mm-hmm.
the dog, even with we got to have, and I call it me moments. We have to have those me moments. I had to learn that, and it took me until I was almost 50 to learn about a me moment. I never did that.
I love that.
And I had to learn, even if my me moment was taking a bath with some candles
Mm-hmm.
and put on some little Isley Brothers or some oh yeah, I'm still saved, y'all. We'll bring it back in. Isley Brothers or some Earth, Wind and Fire or even some jazz. That's my myth. That's where I go, and
Mm-hmm.
it just chills me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, but we have to make time for ourselves.
Exactly.
We have to make time for ourselves. Sometimes you gotta say no. I can't do it today,
Yeah.
and no is not a problem. No is
That's
not
our word.
bad.
No.
No is an answer.
Exactly. I want to mention, and it just taps on what you said. There was a meme that I saw yesterday, and I'm always saving like really good memes. And it's a like a little figure of a mother and a daughter, and it says, "I need you," and then the second line says, "But I need me too."
Mm.
You know, and it's like that was like so it was so impactful or meaningful, I should say. It's just a reminder to women like we have to make sure that we are okay too.
Because if we're not okay, nothing's okay.
Nothing's okay.
Nothing's
Nothing's
okay.
okay.
If
We gotta steal time.
that's right. If we're not okay, nothing's okay.
Yep.
And we can't give something that we don't have.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
what I had to learn the hard way was that if I'm out of fuel,
Yep.
I can't produce anything.
Nothing.
And I had to learn that as a pastor that I can't even help a person effectively if I don't have nothing.
And the worst part about that is that the strong person who's always, giving everybody else energy, filling everybody else, and pouring into everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
when that person is out of gas or out of fuel, everybody's at a standstill. Nobody's coming around trying to pump you up and fill you back up
That
because
part.
you're superhuman.
That's
You
right.
know? So we have to remember that we have to have those boundaries. You know what I'm saying? And let people know, like, I need my time. And you can say it, you can frame it in whatever way you need to frame it, but just know like you need your time and it's okay not to be available for other people. Even if in that moment it's your children.
That's
Hey,
right.
go sit down to the side. Let me sit here for 15, 20 minutes, whatever the case may be, so I can just get a little bit of me time.
That's right. And you have to do it. Um, I had to learn that. I had to learn the boundaries piece, like you just said.
Mhm.
Um, and I had to learn to put me first. And some people say selfish care, but it's not selfish. It's just
No, get
me.
rid of that. Get
Come
rid of that.
on, you know what I'm saying? I
Mm.
I have to take care of me to be effective for me,
Yes,
just for me. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that.
nothing wrong.
We're gonna have you and I gonna ladies. Do y'all want to have a series on this? We're gonna have a series on this. Um, outside of because it's not just about Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah,
Mental health is every month.
exactly.
You know,
Exactly. It
and
translates in so many different domains of
it
our
does.
life.
It does.
It affects
Yeah.
every single domain of our life.
It really does. It really does. and that taking the time and that balance,
Mhm.
it's like a pinwheel,
Yep,
you
yep, yep,
know.
yep.
And we just have to do that. Listen, I first of all, I want to thank you for coming on. We get ready to hook up. We
We
about
need
to
to.
go offline, but the ladies are excited. Looking at the comments, they are
Yeah.
pumped up, and I know with some good information. Do you know, before we go, do you know any? Can you first of all tell everybody how they can contact you,
Okay.
and the services that your company does, and
Yeah.
can help them with?
Yeah. So, um, you can Google me. I can give my number and email address.
Hmm.
Would you want me to put it in a? Would you? Could I post it on your page?
You can give it to me right now.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. So my number, which is the best way to contact me through my number, you can send me a text and just let me know that you want me to call you back regarding your services.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the
So
number?
let me get my number. I don't know about heart. Let me get it.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay. So it's 240
Hmm.
523 3381.
Okay.
And the name of my company is called Birdie's Nest Therapeutic and Consulting Services, LLC. And you type that right into Google, and my website will pop up.
Okay.
You'll know it's me. You'll see a little purple bird in a nest.
Got it.
Yeah. And I also have a Facebook page. So if you search that name on Facebook, you'll be able to find my Facebook page as well.
Okay. Hopefully. Okay. I got it. I did it. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Um. Yeah, we're gonna have some more sessions like this, and even some in person ones if you, because you're local, correct?
I'm in Waldorf.
Oh, you right down the street. Okay,
Mhm.
yes. You right down the street from me. Um, but yeah, we're gonna do that and come together and make
Yeah.
some change.
Yeah, this is really nice. I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to speak with you about mental health. Like I
Mhm.
said before, this is a very important topic to me. I'm very passionate about it, and it's so nice to converse with someone who's also equally as passionate about this topic.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thank all the women who tuned in and gave their feedback. I didn't repeat everything, but I read everything.
Yes, yes, yes. The women are excited. I'm excited. And we're all affected by mental health one way or the other.
Everyone.
And it's needed. It's time to address the stigma. It's time to sever
Hmm.
that. It's just mental health challenges are just like challenges with diabetes and high blood pressure and
Exactly.
all those other things we
Yep.
deal with as people.
Yep.
It's time out for judging it. It's time out
Hmm.
for looking at people funny and all that. It's time in for compassion.
Mhm.
It's time in for love. I don't know. I have major issues when I hear people talk crazy about me.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Yes.
To say, like, in your mental health, there's no personal fault in that.
Mhm.
So it's nothing for you to carry or be ashamed
That's
of.
so good. Say that again.
In your mental health, there's no personal fault in that. So there's no need to carry any kind of negative ill wills about having a mental health issue.
Hmm.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. Somebody hashtag that. It's
Mhm.
not your fault. That is powerful. That's rich. And that's something to hold on to. It's not your fault. And that is so good. Because a lot of times people think it's something they
Mhm.
did or something they didn't do, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. No need to blame.
Yeah,
Just get the help.
yeah. Just get the help.
Mhm.
Listen, you all, I love you all. I love you all. I love you all. You will see us again very soon. And you all, hashtag it's not your fault. Someone, you all share this video. Make sure you share it to all your friends, your whole community, so we can get the word out, so we can make change. We can make change. Social media is one of the biggest
Mhm.
free engines that I say marketing engines there is on the planet. So
Mhm.
let's make change, ladies, and share this video. Share this video. Get in contact with the Dr. Wiggins so she can help if you need help. Okay, because we all need help in some areas, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a good thing. I love you all so much. You don't go nowhere, Dr. Wiggins.
I won't.
We're gonna go online. But I love you all so much. You all have a wonderful, wonderful night. And you all have a good night. I love you all. And again, we'll see you again. The Journey of Womanhood. And I am co-pastor Michelle Lyles.